to look at your market properly and have a good understanding of your audience, talk to your customers, make sure that what you're developing is something that they want and that they would pay for, right?
Hello, Elena. Today we are here with you spilling the tea. You and your concept for Yaldi Games and your unique take on the world of gaming and the change that you're trying to create through it. Elena was our global winner of the Innovation Challenge last year. And so who better to tell us how it all works and what goes on behind the scenes of a social entrepreneur than you. So welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So yeah, look, I guess we'll start at the beginning. What was it that motivated you to start the work with Yaldi Games that you're doing now? And yeah, can you tell us a bit about Yaldi Games and this game that you've been developing for a while now, Wholesome, out and about?
Oh, absolutely. Yaldi Games is a mission-driven game developer, and we try to integrate real-life information into games so that players can learn while playing. And Wholesome personally was inspired by my own experience from learning to forage. So for the first time, I went out and I foraged, and I discovered all these plants and trees and mushrooms, and I just realized that I knew way too little about them. And I felt that this kind of knowledge would connect me to nature and would help me feel more one with nature, and also help me increase my sustainability practices. And so I felt, you know, this is a perfect case where we can integrate these real plants and these real recipes into a game, because, you know, gathering things is what we've been doing in gaming forever now. And it was just a perfect fit of, you know, being able to integrate real knowledge into the game, and at the same time keeping the gameplay absolutely fun and just focused on the enjoyment and the experience. So Wholesome is a game where you can forage digitally, you can explore nature, and then you can cook and you can craft and you can sell your creations, upgrade your house. It's very wholesome and cozy, but it has these real life information that will help people recreate these experiences in real life.
It's an incredibly innovative idea that yeah, we just hadn't seen before, and that was one of the reasons you came out on top in the Global Innovation Challenge last year. It sounds like the perfect pairing of your personal passions and your skill set. Is that fair to say? And
absolutely, yeah.
How did that come together? And were you encouraged by someone or something? What brought those two things together for you?
Well, for me, it was like ever since school, I knew that I wanted to create video games that have this kind of meaning to them, because I loved how Assassin's Creed did it, right? And I mean, Assassin's Creed is all about murdering people, but at the same time, they let you experience Venice, and they let you meet Leonardo da Vinci, and it's nice, and it has this historic knowledge integrated into the gameplay. So I knew that that's what I wanted to do. But I think that experience with my parents going foraging, and then also the reaction of my mother immediately understanding the value, like when I explained the idea to her, that was really great, because she was really anti-games. You know, like she didn't really like it. She thought it was just violence, and her understanding the concept very easily, and then also getting super passionate about it, that showed me that this idea is, you know, it's easy to communicate, and it's easy to show people how much impact it could have, and they just understand it and they love it, and that positive reception has helped me you know, get to where I am, because I am essentially, it's such an easy product to market to people or to pitch, because they can see the impact it could have on their own lives or the lives of their children. And yeah, that's just that made things easier.
Yeah, and I think that makes it sort of doubly beneficial because it kind of contradicts a lot of those negative stereotyped
Yes.
views that people might have about games and people who game, and that you stay inside and you really don't interact with other people, and you certainly don't spend a great deal of time outdoors. Actually, your game is about encouraging people to spend more time outdoors, foraging for real, and making recipes from those foraged foods. And I guess through that, multiple social and environmental benefits. You mentioned a lot in your material, mental health and the importance of spending time outdoors, and I guess connecting with other people, all important things to keep people happy and healthy.
Absolutely, and there's so much positive impact that crafts can have, about discipline and patience and self-belief. If we can encourage people, and especially kids, to look at crafts like felting or, certain paper crafts or something with the air clay, there's just such great potential for those kids to have a really great time, but then also, take something away from it.
What made you decide to enter the Global Innovation Challenge last year, and having done so and pitched and won and come out of the other side, having achieved a level of success within it, how did it benefit? How did the experience benefit you?
I decided to apply because, well, I saw it on, I think, LinkedIn, and I thought, wow, this is really new, and fresh. And there's not a lot of like startup support, especially in the very early stages. There weren't that many grants to go around, so I was very informed about what happens and how to get in. So of course I applied right away, and the pitching, as usual, it was fun to pitch and actually just share that idea. And I think since we won that funding, I think that funding has been part of helping us grow our prototype better, like just make it better and help us get more funding from other grants like the year after, because I think I won it in October. I think it was October last year, and since then, we have made so much progress because of the money that we had then. That helped us cut the corners of like funding gaps and then get to the point where we got more funding. So yeah, that was great.
Cool. It's nice to hear. Nice to hear that it was a bit of a Kickstarter for you, for the project, and that you've gone on since to really develop the product further. Exactly. What would you say to applicants this year who are about to go through this process that you've gone through? What would you recommend? Is there something that helped you to stand out last year? Well,
in terms of, I know that you probably won't have a lot of video game applicants, but it's interesting that the reason why a lot of indie game studios fail or don't get these access to these kind of grants is because they don't consider the market side. So I would always, anyone really, advise to look at your market properly and have a good understanding of your audience, talk to your customers, make sure that what you're developing is something that they want and that they would pay for, right? And how much would they pay for it? So this kind of research is extremely valuable because it will show you that there's a need. And if you have that, and if you have that data, you should definitely use that in pitches and just like put it anywhere, essentially, because with that has been extremely valuable for me. I think I remember at the end of October last year, that's when I started my TikTok account as well. And so we got lots of, followers in the first few months. And that was just like progress, like, and things that I could show off and a need that I could show off to anyone really, investors or publishers or, grants. So do that. Like, I think that would be the most important thing from my perspective.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And look, I think what we try and do at Shifters is encourage people to dive deeper into the problem that you're trying to solve. So I think those two things are important: understanding that the change that you want to make or the problem that you're trying to address, and also your market or your customers and users.
Yeah.
How would you do that at an early stage? Social media actually is a good way. You still need to build a following in order to get that direct feedback from customers. Is there any way you could do any of those things you've described at a very early stage when you're really just thinking about shaping an idea? Where did you begin?
Well, I mean, I personally started with, Facebook and foraging groups, because those were where the hardcore foraging experts were, and enthusiasts, and then they had that passion. So I remember that I started there, but I would recommend to anyone to actually then start with TikTok. I mean, it does depend on your audience, right? For example, if you have a hardcore, more male-sided dominant audience, you'd probably go with Reddit, right? But then, TikTok is more, more female and faster and more entertainment. But they also have a lot of like sustainable podcasts and people talking about things. So if you are, like, if anyone here is an expert on, something about a field like within sustainability, they could make, videos about what they know or what they researched and how they think their product could fit in, and essentially just create those videos to see if people like what they're doing, and then they can improve how they present themselves as well, because no one will ever start perfectly. It's it's a skill that needs to be learned through many videos, like how to present yourself or what to say, or like how to make a funny or good video. It's insane. I mean, it can't be just it's not like a one-off thing. So no, yeah, I think even at the very early stages, you can put yourself out there. You can talk about your ideas, and you can also talk probably a lot more about the problems that there are, and then you can say how your idea solves them.
Yeah, good advice, I think, and just to get out there and
yeah,
find out what you can find out. It sounds like there's probably a wealth of knowledge and content out there if you're willing to go digging for it. The challenge is probably finding the most reliable and trustworthy sources of information. It's probably not a lack of data and a lack of input or insights. It's really sort of being able to find the most reliable sources for it and separating that from the clutter of.
It's true, yeah. But I mean, if you're lucky, you find people who are like-minded, who have also some ideas about the things that you're talking about, and maybe they are influencers and have more following, and then there's some conversations to be had about just things that you have in common with other people. And I think those could also shape your product, because in the early stages you will pivot a lot.
You're clearly very passionate about what you do, and that's probably come from this pairing of two worlds that are important to you, nature and the outdoors, and gaming, and technology. I guess so. It's clear where that's sort of come from. Is it, as a social entrepreneur doing what you're doing, I've heard you speak about how big and complex it is to get a game up and running. It's a big effort, I'm sure, and probably tiring and frustrating at times. How do you stay focused? How do you keep that passion and energy when the process is so complex and possibly slow?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, for me, honestly, interacting with people on TikTok and also on our Discord and seeing, all these things that they are creating, the plants that they are seeing, or the things that they are crafting or cooking, I think that motivates me every day. Because for example, if I go somewhere for holiday and I discover new plants and I discover the food there, I always immediately think of, oh, I could create this region inside the game, and I can put all these recipes and these plants in there, and then characters that talk about the history of these places. And no, I honestly, there is just so much passion for all this stuff. I will never not think about like all of this positive, even if, you know, there might be ups and downs, and, you know, sometimes game design can be very frustrating because it's so many tiny decisions. But I've got a great team, and they're helping me, and, you know, they're creating amazing artwork and program and code. So I think, you know, I'm in safe hands, and I'm in good company as well. So like my passion will drive this project forward, and my team will help me create it.
Yeah, I think there's two really good bits of advice in there. One is kind of elaborating on your last point, which I think is getting out there and doing, rather than sitting too long thinking about it. And in doing that, you know, you're involved and you're engaged, and then you're sharing that with a community. You're feeding into that same passion that you have. So it's another reason to go out and just do and give it a try if you're in a position to do so. And there's something else there around community that I'm hearing, and having the right team around you. And I'm guessing that's asking for help and bringing in the right community of people to support you and keep each other accountable and motivated.
Absolutely, the right team, the right mentors and advisors, like definitely those are essential. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn or meet them through, you know, social gatherings. I had so many mentors, and I can name them on my, you know, pitch slides, and it's so valuable because these people have experiences that I just don't have, and by talking to them I get access to that, you know, lifetime essentially. So that is extremely valuable.
Cool. Elena, we're running to a really tight schedule today, but I'm wondering if we can just squeeze one more drop of tea out of you. Lots of really good advice. But if you had to give one piece of advice, one top tip to someone applying this year, or somebody pitching potentially, do you have one golden nugget of tea? That doesn't really work.
Well, I think if you're pitching live, you know, your passion for the product and, you know, the problem as well, right? Because you need to bring that across. I think the worst thing people can do when they pitch is not show emotions, because maybe they're too stressed out. But I think that really drives it, and that makes it easy for people to also get, you know, passionate about it. And I think that is amazing. Passion is so important to communicate. And otherwise, for applications, I would say just make sure that you structure your thoughts well, because it's very hard for other people who have no idea about what you're doing to understand what you're doing. And so if you keep it simple and short, and, you know, structure it really well, and like what do you tell them first so that they understand what comes after, that makes a massive difference.
Cool. Awesome. Really good advice. Thank you, Elena, for spilling your tea and the benefit of everyone else.
No, always. It's lovely to be here, and I hope it goes well for everyone applying.
And one last thing, if someone wants to find out a bit more about you or about Yaldi Games or anything that you're doing, where should they go?
Well, we have our website, which is yaldigames.com, and then also we are essentially as Yaldi Games on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, but TikTok is most active.
Cool. We will put links somewhere down all of those platforms. Elena, thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a lovely day.